The first book we're going to look at is by Lee Garman and Doris Frizzell, published in 1989. This was the first book on the subject of collecting Royal Haeger pottery. It's a good beginner's book. Since it's the first book, it's all we had when we first started searching for Haeger pottery out there. It's got a nice little brief history of the founders of the company. Nice history here, starting in 1871, going to 1988. Talks a little bit about the designers, Glenn Richardson. It's got a reprint of the first Royal Haeger, Royal Hickman catalog, published in 1939-1940. Lists some of the glazes that Haeger produced during 1946 to 1949. And here's what's sort of fun. And then they go into a reprint, a 1950 reprint. And what was sort of interesting, when I talked to Lee Garman about this, she said they were really actually very disappointed because they thought this was all going to be in color. So when they got the book back from the publisher, they were very surprised to see it all in black and white. And I guess that would be a disappointment. Well, what is also really good about this book, it gets into studio Haeger pottery, but here's what's of interest or helpful to us, the collector. It lists the numbers of the designs and the description. You don't see that in many Haeger books printed after this. And especially helpful when you get into the lamps. This is the only book I've seen that actually will give you a list of the model numbers and a description of the lamps that they're matched up with. So that, for me, makes this book an important book to at least have in your collection if you're a Royal Haeger pottery collector. And then they go on to, they did hire a professional photographer to shoot their collection, the collection they had at the time. So there are some nice pictures that give you a good idea of what Haeger produced during those years. And another thing that's helpful in this particular book is they reprint some catalogs from the early 50s. And again, you don't see these in any of the other Haeger books. So even though this is the first book, it's still helpful. Here's where we do sort of, Lee Garman and Doris Frizzell told me a little story here where they got a little bit of a laugh here, was that they do give you a price guide, a 1989 price guide. And when I first saw this book and saw these prices, I'm looking here at some of these descriptions, and the prices are $15 to $18. Or $10 or $6. Well, these prices were way undervalued for what Haeger was really going for, even in 1989. And the ladies did sort of, Lee Garman said they were a little ashamed that they had priced things so low. They just didn't know at the time that they were way off when it came to the numbers and pricing Royal Haeger pottery. So that's just a quick review on the book. Like I said, the first book on the subject of Royal Haeger pottery. And again, Lee Garman and Doris Frizzell, very sweet people. I met them both, great ladies. And I think it's a book worth having in your collection.